And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Megan Pattison. Thanks so much for joining us here on CPTV. UConn is back from the West Coast with a 3-0 record, averaging 99 points per game. And Megan, Svetlana Abrosimova laying an early season claim to the National Player of the Year award.
Bob, I know it's only 3 games in, but she is the most complete player in the country. Can kill you from all aspects of the floor. There, the pull-up jumper. Here she shows you how she can find people in traffic. Then the defensive theft and the easy 2. 19 points, 6 boards, 6 assists already on the season. And Bob, only 2 turnovers in the 3 games. Not bad.
In 78 minutes, 2 turnovers. GW has split its first 4. Like UConn, a postseason perennial. 8 trips to the NCAAs in the last 10 years. And like the Huskies, the Colonials also rely heavily on a player from the other side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, Petra Dubasova. Yes, that would be how you say her name. The 6'3" senior from Slovakia. 12 points a game, 6 rebounds, 41% from the floor. She can score inside and outside, that typical European player. But she has got to do it and be dangerous for them to have a chance tonight.
This will be the 22nd time UConn plays at the Civic Center. They won the last 15 times here. Starting lineups are next. George Washington, we told you about Dubasova. Christina Alexander, the point guard, 3rd in the Atlantic 10 in assists and 8th in steals. George Washington 2-2 on the year. And there's the coach, Joe McKeon, in his 12th season. Has won 3 Atlantic 10 tournament titles, 3-time conference coach of the year, including last year. And for UConn, we told you about Abrosimova. Shea Ralph has only taken 13 shots this season, and incredibly enough, she's actually missed 2 of them. 11 of 13 from the floor on the year. The Huskies, of course, coached by Gino Auriemma, who is inching ever so close to that 400 career win milestone. It will be Swin Cash, jumping center for the Huskies against Elena Vishnayakova. Sally Bell will toss it up. She's working the game with Tom Donaher and Mark Zentz. Quickly, UConn. Abrosimova gets the first shot and the rebound pulled down by Erica Lawrence. Alexander on the dribble. Down low, Vishnayakova spins on Abrosimova and lays it in.
It's a nice way for 2 St. Petersburg players to start the game.
And we're not talking about the St. Pete that's across from Tampa. We're talking about the one in Russia. Alexander the other way, guarded by Bird, her former high school teammate at Christ the King in New York. Couple of number 10s will go head-to-head tonight. Vishnayakova with the turnaround shot over Swin Cash. And 40 seconds in, GW drawing the first blood with the first 4.
Well, I think Vishnayakova wants to send a message here. Perhaps to her old mate back from Russia.
Abrosimova for 3 sends her own message.
And that's where Abrosimova gets you. She can do it from inside or out.
And Abrosimova nearly comes up with her first steal of the evening. Instead, there will be a personal foul called on GW.
She was safe diving into home plate there.
Erica Lawrence with the first foul of the evening. Abrosimova is 4th in the Big East in steals. She is having a monster season. We mentioned Ralph, 11 of 13. Well, Abrosimova with the right side jumper, back-to-back 3s, and she's now 24 of 31 from the floor on the year.
Well, you don't want to get beat twice in a row by something. In that zone, you got to come out and guard Abrosimova there, and they just stepped on the line out of bounds.
Gino Auriemma, like Joe McKeon, a Philadelphia guy. McKeon born in Philadelphia. Inside, it's Cash and lays it up and in. Swin Cash, and just like that, the Huskies on an 8-0 run. 6 of the 8 on Abrosimova 3s.
And they want to make this game up tempo, do the Huskies. Full court pressure, attack. George Washington's going to have a real hard time with their pressure.
Lindsay Davidson, sophomore guard from Brea, California. Cross court, there's Bird to pick it off. 3-on-3 if they hurry. Bird finds Ralph, wide open 3. The Huskies 3 for 3 from 3-point range.
Well, Ralph, like you said, doesn't take a lot of shots, but she makes them count when she does.
Good head fake by Alexander, but she dragged the pivot foot. So GW turns it over. Alexander began her collegiate career at George Mason University. Spent only 1 year there, but she was named the Colonial Athletic Association Rookie of the Year. Cash down low, all alone, Asia Jones. Boy, GW fell asleep on that one. And Joe McEwen says, let's talk things over. Very upset at the defensive breakdown. 17:42 to go, a 13-0 UConn run. Talk about a transformation from one extreme to the other over a period of a couple years. Shea would be the first to admit that when she first came to UConn, with the advantage of 20/20 hindsight and a certain head coach in her ear, that she shot too much.
But you know, she's been able to change her game to best suit her body now, which has had 2 reconstructions on one knee, and her team, and she, you know, has been unselfish and smart enough to do that.
Out of the timeout, Abrosimova called for a reach-in foul. Then George Washington inbounds it and turns it over again. 5 turnovers for the Colonials in the first 2.5 minutes. Bird looks for Ralph. Posts up Lawrence down low. Misses the shot. Rebound last touched by Asia Jones. And we will get our first substitution of the evening. And checking into the lineup for the Colonials will be Corinne Reed, a 5'10 senior. Reed, the only player on this GW team who saw any playing time the last time these two teams met, which was in the second round of the '98 NCAA tournament. Scored 5 points and had 2 rebounds in 10 minutes that night at Gamble Pavilion. It was an 8-point game.
Yeah, it was a good game, close one. Certainly something these fans aren't used to now. Close games. Down
low, Vishnayakova with the miss. Asia Jones getting the start again. Kelly Schumacher still not ready to come back from the stretch factor. Jones for 3. Long rebound is run down by Erica Lawrence.
I mean, Jones can take that shot. She just happened to miss that one badly, but that's a shot that she has made and she will continue to take.
That was her first 3-point attempt of this season. Rebound underneath to Ralph. George Washington scored the first 4 points and has not scored since. Down low, Ralph all alone. Nice feed from Jones. Good recovery by Alexander, who rejected it, but last touched by the Colonials.
You don't see Shea Ralph get her shot blocked too often down low, but she didn't have body contact. Alexander did a nice job flying in from the top of the key and was able to knock it away. Good defense.
Ralph, backhand pass in the post to Cash. Spin move, but can't make the left-hander. Held ball, possession arrow pointing towards George Washington. Colonials are 2-2 on the year. Both the losses, Megan, to nationally ranked teams on the road, to number 15 Virginia, and then they got absolutely waxed last Sunday afternoon at Rutgers in the finals of the Coca-Cola Classic.
Well, they were doing okay until Rutgers went on a 20-0 run in the second half, and
that'll do it every time.
Especially against a team like Rutgers, that it's so tough to score against them, especially if you get down by so much.
On the left, Reed defended by Ralph. Up high, Lawrence into the post of Vishnayakova. Deflected and stolen. Bird lead pass to Ralph, and we will get a hold on GW. That will be foul number 2 on the Colonials from the Atlantic 10 Conference, and that will bring us to an official timeout. 15:52 to go in the first half, and UConn up by 9.
Bob, what are you doing Sunday night at 8 o'clock? Because premiering will be the British Invictus.
Tamika Williams in for the Huskies. Handles the ball in the post. Abrosimova on the left. Down low baseline, and there's Williams. It took her, what, about 8 seconds to get one of those 18-inchers.
Well, nice ball movement against the zone, and GW just does a poor job of talking inside.
Foul will be called on Swin Cash. Gino Auriemma doesn't. I think he doesn't like it because the whistle wasn't called at the contact. It was called after the player hit the floor. It's not a foul if a player hits the floor. At any rate.
Well, you know, Christina Alexander, regardless of who the foul was on, she's got plantar fasciitis and it is hampered with it. So anytime she goes down, regardless, they don't need her being more hurt.
Lawrence missing the shot, but follows up her own miss. Erica Lawrence playing not terribly far from her Nyack, New York home.
She made that all-tourney team down that Coca-Cola Classic last weekend.
2 possessions and 2 Tamika Williams layups. Williams with 4. Bird with the strip of Dubasova. On the right, Ralph, head fake, then stumbles over Alexander's foot, and Alexander will be whistled for foul number 1 and 3 on the Colonials.
Well, Sue Bird, everyone's talking about right now how she's not making a lot of shots, but check out this defense. Tremendous pick coming out of nowhere, and then sets up Ralph, who gets tripped trying to get to the hoop.
Diana Taurasi checking into the UConn lineup, coming up a strong effort against Washington on Friday. And Taurasi misses the shot but draws the foul. She'll get to the free throw line. I think Diana, it's safe to assume that she was probably pressing a bit when she played at Pepperdine, not far from her Chino, California home, but looked a lot more relaxed last Friday up in Seattle when she had 14 points and 4 assists in 19 minutes.
Yeah, she didn't have a crowd that she was trying to impress. That's tough when you go home for the first time as a freshman. You get your whole high school team there, your family, friends.
Taurasi now 8 of 10 from the free throw line this year. Lawrence will take a seat, and she is replaced by Ugo Oha, who's having an outstanding freshman year at George Washington. She began her collegiate career with back-to-back double-doubles. Off the inbound pass, this is Reed, trapped along the UConn sideline, and Vishnayakova dragged the pivot foot. There's the pair of Russians who were chatting before the game. We were talking to Svetlana, who said that she did play against Vishnayakova for a bit when they were back in Russia.
Yeah, but Vishnayakova is older, so Sveta's team would play against her. And Vishnayakova's team used to kill them early on because Sveta's team played up in age group, but then they caught up to him, and I think Sveta's happy with where she is now.
And she was telling us the story, and she said, but we got them back. On the right, Reed, defended by Taurasi, puts it on the floor. Good defense by Taurasi. Last touch by Vishnayakova.
Their defense is so difficult to penetrate against. They pin the ball on one side of the floor. It's really difficult to get into your offense and get any sort of flow going.
9th turnover already for George Washington, who's 5th in the 10-team Atlantic 10 in turnover ratio. Bird on the right, Taurasi, wide open look.
Such patience on offense. You run your cuts, you set your screens, you move it side to side, you get a wide open 12-footer.
Taurasi, a little contact, Alexander falls, and the Williams pass juggled out of bounds by Abrosimova, so UConn turns the ball over for only the 2nd time. Gino Auriemma's club 2nd in the Big East in turnover ratio.
And I don't, will Sveta get credited with that turnover because she was the last one to hit it out?
Probably.
And that's unfortunate because really that pass was Tamika's fault, and she pointed to herself saying, Svet, that's my fault. That is definitely my fault because Svet was running, the ball is in the middle of the floor, she's running, filling the lane.
Here's Oha up high. Nice look inside to Vishnayakova, and Jones went for the block and instead will pick up foul number 1 on Asia. And for UConn, that will be team foul number 3.
Well, everything seemed to get messed up. Tamika Williams went for a steal early on, and then everything was just kind of messed up there. Jones just trying to come back and get a hand on the ball.
So at the free throw line, Elena Vishnayakova, a 6'4" junior from St. Petersburg, Russia, transfer from the University of Georgia. This is her first year at George Washington. 2 years ago, she played on a Georgia team in the Final Four, as we get a glimpse at Joe McEwen, who has had so much success during his 12-year run at GW.
Wow, what the heck happened there?
Jones runs down the missed free throw and saves it to Taurasi. 13:20 to go first half. UConn up by 15. Backdoor cut. Williams to Bird, and shades of the NCAA championship game with the win over Tennessee, where the Huskies backdoored the Lady Vols to death all night.
That play was just obscene.
On the left, Dubasova. Down low, Oha, head fake. What do we have here? A travel violation. So GW has now turned the ball over for the 11th time in only 7 minutes.
There were 3 walks, I think, so far, and all of it is because of UConn's pressure defense. It forces you to lose your mind and then shuffle your feet.
Colonial's averaging 22 turnovers per game. Taurasi with her first 3 of the night.
I think that was from Trumbull Street. Oh, my word.
Diana Taurasi 4 of 7 from 3-point range this year. We come down the other way, and Lindsay Davidson can't get it to fall. Rebound Tamika Williams. Remember that 4-0 George Washington lead? Well, UConn's on a 26-2 run.
Yeah, that's a distant memory now.
No look fast to Jones, and the block and the foul will be called on Oha. That's her first. And number 4 on George Washington. Ugo Oha, a preseason selection for the Atlantic 10 all-rookie team.
Well, Joe McEwen is losing his mind over the bench, saying that was clean. She got her hand. It looked clean initially from this angle, but.
So at the free throw line, Asia Jones, the 6'2 junior from Piscataway, New Jersey. Obrosimova returns to the lineup for UConn, replacing Sue Bird. Of course, Megan, when you score 99 points a game like UConn has in the first 3, it's tough to find fault with anything that the Huskies have done. But
I'm waiting for the butt.
But one thing is Sue Bird not getting a lot of shots, and Shea Ralph not getting a lot of shots. So it's just basically the evolution of how the
I think that's
the
offense. I mean, other people
changed,
are getting
the
their shots.
addition of Taurasi. And
yeah, and it's not like they're not scoring. If they weren't getting their shots and they weren't putting the numbers up, then I think that would be cause for concern. Right. But hey, they're winning. They're scoring a ton of points. If you'd find any fault with the team, I think early on it's the free throw shooting. They're only shooting about 68%, which is not where they want to be.
UConn now on a 12-0 run following the Ralph layup. The runner by Davidson. 3rd team Parade Magazine All-American in high school. 21-point UConn lead. Jones all alone. Another 3, her second of the night. Long rebound is chased down by Alexander, and the reach-in foul on Taurasi. That will be number 1 on Diana. And 4 on UConn. And that will bring us to a timeout with 11:43 to go in the first half. It's been all UConn, a 21-point lead. Tic-tac-toe. TV and intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without express written consent of CPTV is strictly prohibited. And welcome back to UConn to Dom Perno, the Assistant Director of Athletics for Athletic Development at George Washington University. Dom in the house.
Dom.
One of the great figures in UConn men's basketball history, a great player at UConn, later on an assistant coach under D. Rowe, and then the head coach preceding Jim Calhoun, and one of the all-time nice guys.
Great guy. I noticed he's sitting down there next to D. Rowe.
And he sat in your chair just a few times.
Yes,
did a few ball games with me over the years.
Good man. Inside
Vishnayakova with the putback. 19-point UConn lead, nearly 9 minutes in. Obrosimova 3 for 3 from 3.
So every time Vishnayakova scores, Sveta says, I got to do you one better.
Obrosimova now 3 of 4 from the floor tonight, so she's 25 of 33 for the season. And Joe McEwen calls for a timeout with 11:04 to go, and he is just a little bit agitated. Does not like what he sees.
I don't think his face is usually that red.
I spoke with Joe yesterday, and in speaking of UConn, he said, I always thought the '95 UConn team was the best team I saw, but the way they played at the end of the season, last year's team was just as good as their '95 team. Although he pointed out he thought the coaching was much better in '95 because you were on the staff, as opposed to a year ago when you were next to me.
He's a good Philly guy.
All right. Yep. Says he and Gino both know where all the good cheesesteak places are in Philly.
They've downed a couple.
Joe has won 252 games, only 93 losses in his 12 years at GW. On the right, swing cash with the jumper, no good. Out of the timeout that time, Megan, GW took away the back door that UConn was looking for.
Well, you got to make adjustments. You can't get beat by the same thing time and time again.
Air ball by Vishnyakova. Ralph rebound ahead to Abrosimova. Looks inside, and Ashley Battle, the freshman from Pittsburgh, with her first 2 of the night.
What a tremendous pass that was from Abrosimova to find Battle down low, and a good finish.
Sveta 5th in the Big East in assists, had the career high 11 assists on opening night against Georgia right here at the Civic Center. And a silly reach-in foul by Taurasi. That will be her 2nd foul.
Yeah, silly, I think, is the key word there, Bob.
Sue Bird returns for the Huskies.
And he's explaining some things to her, which...
Look at Diana with the arm around the coach.
That is Diana to a T.
I think Gino was saying, why is your arm down?
He probably
you got to be a
notice.
senior before you get away with that.
He probably didn't even notice. But that's just how Diana is. She's just hilarious.
Now, did you do that when you were a freshman?
You know, I was dumb enough. I probably did.
Reed with the running left-hander hits the side of the backboard and then hits Reed as she was standing on the end line. So it's UConn basketball. The Huskies, with several days between games here early in the season, that opening game against Georgia here at the Civic Center, and then they had almost about 10 days off before playing Pepperdine. 3 days later they played Washington, and then another 5 days off before this one, and then 6 more days off before they will play Miami in their Big East opener next Tuesday in a game which you can see right here on CPTV.
Well, what's nice about having some of those days off is, of course, some of it's for travel, but you know, you play a couple games and then you see what you need to work on, because it's difficult to assess that every day in practice just playing against each other. So, you know, you play out at Pepperdine, you play at Washington, and you come back and you work on some things and you get better, and that's exactly what they did this week.
Abrosimova missing the free throw, and Lawrence returning for George Washington, replacing Corinne Reed. Tamika Williams will check back in for the Huskies, and she will replace Ashley Battle. Another thing that's good about the games being spread out is that has meant, sort of a byproduct of that, is it has meant that Kelly Schumacher will miss fewer games that way. There's certainly no need to rush her back, but she's still not anywhere near 100% recovered from the stress fracture. So
yeah, that's where you just get lucky with your schedule.
Lawrence hitting the pull-up jumper. Lawrence, a preseason second-team All-Atlantic 10 selection.
She made third team last year, made the rookie team.
Williams, too high for Bird, who couldn't make the tough catch. 9:25 remaining, first half. The Huskies receiving 39 of 40 first place votes in this week's ESPN USA Today poll. The 40th vote going to Tennessee, who has remained second in the rankings all season. Foul on Bird on the perimeter. That is her first, and number 6 on UConn. Asia Jones returns for the Huskies, and we'll get our first look of the evening at Kenitra Johnson. Johnson's first action this year here at the Civic Center. She did not play in the opener against Georgia.
She's worked her way back into the lineup.
And Abrosimova nearly picked Lawrence's pocket on the inbound. She'll do it again. Lawrence making her third start in this, the 5th game of the year for George Washington, as Joe McEwen has done a little bit of experimenting with his starting lineup. Oha got the start last Sunday against the Rutgers after playing so well off the bench earlier. Oha with the turnaround over Jones. Nice touch.
Like getting that roll in this place in front of 16,000 people, foreign rims.
Down low, Jones wants to return the favor.
There's a lot of dueling banjos going on here this evening.
23-point UConn lead. Dubasova has been extremely quiet tonight. She's the leading scorer on the year for GW.
Well, that's a point of emphasis this year. Again, the hand check and rough play.
If there is such a thing as a negative in the Huskies' start thus far this year, is for the second game in a row committing a lot of fouls early in the half.
I mean, yeah, to be shooting for GW to be shooting 1-1 with 8:34 to play and a sizable lead, that's not smart.
Brosimova rebounds the missed free throw. Johnson missing the three. Loose ball, and Johnson runs it down. Actually was directed to her by Jones, and a fresh shot clock for UConn.
But the thing you have to remember too, Bob, this team plays so aggressively, and when you press a lot and play that type of game, you're going to foul.
Brosimova with the feed to Jones, who lost her footing, and it winds up in the hands of Lindsay Davidson. Left sideline, Dubasova. That's her first shot of the night. Weak side rebound to Bird, who's fouled from behind.
Bird looked like a big guy going up there for that rebound.
So we'll head down the other end as each team is now over the limit. Foul on Alexander. That will be her second. While Alexander was at Christ the King, her school won 4 state championships, 24-0 her senior year. Sue Bird there for 2 of those 4.
How about she went 101-3 in her high school career? Pretty amazing.
Bird gets her hand on the pass, knocks it out of bounds. It will be GW ball when we come back. 7:55 to go, first half. Bob Picozzi, Megan Pattison back at the Hartford Civic Center. 7:55 to go, first half. Top-ranked UConn leading George Washington 37-14. Megan, are we ever going to do a game from Gamble this year?
I don't know. Gosh, it seems like we'll never get there.
Huskies will play their Gamble Pavilion opener 1 week from tomorrow against Holy Cross, and we'll have that one for you here on CPTV. Tonight's game, the third of 22 UConn games you'll see this year on Connecticut Public Television. And we'll be right back at you next Tuesday night from Miami for the Huskies Big East opener. That will be a 7 o'clock start. Darn shame we have to head to southern Florida in the first week of December, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too bad.
Tough work, but somebody's got to do it.
Probably be about 75.
Yeah. In the shade.
Yeah.
And then, as you saw on the screen, following the Miami game and the Holy Cross game, a trip to Champaign, Illinois on December 10th. And if the Huskies don't stumble between now and then, Mr. Oriema will be looking for career win number 400 that day against Hall of Fame coach Teresa Grants.
Pretty remarkable achievement by any coach to get 400.
Another turnover. Here's Kenitra Johnson. Tries to beat Davidson off the dribble. Up top to Bird.
I think Harry Perretta at Villanova just got his 400th win.
Again, GW takes away the backdoor cut, so Williams just bulldozes her way down the lane, and one way or another, Megan, she gets a layup.
Well, that's what's so good about this Husky team, that if you take away the backdoor cut, well, then we dare you to take away the high post, either the shot or the drive. That's what they do to teams offensively. It's very difficult to stop them. They've got so many weapons.
Tamika a perfect 3 for 3 tonight. Baseline drive by Dubasova. Gets it out to Davidson. To Oha. Wide open look. Rebound pulled down by Asia Jones. Tamika Williams now 20 for 26 from the floor this season. She feeds Asia Jones for the high post jumper.
The two of them, both of them are good passers, both are good shooters, and if they can really develop the rapport between the two of them on the court, and they've got great rapport off the court, they're roommates and great friends, they will be an unstoppable pair inside. 7
points, 3 rebounds for Jones. UConn with 41 points, and we still have 6 minutes left in the half. Remember, they're averaging 99. They've scored 100, they've scored 99, they've scored 98. First 3, not in that order. And as Lawrence starts to go, she will draw the foul and get to the free throw line to shoot the 1-and-1. Foul on Asia Jones. Now they're going to say it's on Morgan Valley. Number 1 on the freshman from Burlington. And at the free throw line will go Lawrence, who came off the bench to score 11 points last Sunday against Rutgers. This is the second game this season, early in the season, between a Big East team and an Atlantic 10 team, with Rutgers beating GW in the first such matchup.
Well, you know, Joe McEwen said that Erica Lawrence is a star in the making. So it'll be interesting to see how her career progresses. It's pretty big words from a coach.
Yeah, well, Lawrence is one of 3 players, the others being Alexander and Dubasova, who were preseason second team all Atlantic 10 selections, and all 3 of those made all conference third team last year. So the cupboard certainly not left bare from the team last year that won 26 games and wound up losing to Notre Dame in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Following the UConn miss, the other end, GW with the ball, baseline drive, and the block will be called on Bird. So that's number 2 on Bird. So this is 2 games in a row where UConn being whistled for a lot of fouls, and it helps to have depth when that happens, and no one is deeper than the Huskies.
Well, she was bodying up to her, and you have to know the officials are trying to clean up both the women's and the men's game. And the thing, you may think that the call stinks, but that's just the way it goes, and you have to know that that's not only a point of emphasis this season, and that it's going to take a time to adjust to it early on, but you have to adjust to it early in the game. You got to sense how the officials are calling the game and react accordingly.
And the big difference, so they say this year, the officials say that they have been instructed to make those calls every night all season long. Clearly in the past, there's been a pattern, although they'd never admit it, where they wanted to set the tone early in the season, in the non-conference season, and then it was business as usual in January. This time they say they're going to call it that way all season long. Morgan Valley from the right. Rebound inside is pulled down by Oha. She's the leading rebounder on the Colonials this season. Vishnyakova up top to Oha. Alexander defended by Johnson. Looks for the screen from Oha. Gets it. Oha rolled to the hoop, but Alexander couldn't get it to her. Now Alexander finds Oha eventually, but she misses the layup. Rebound Alexander. It was an eventful possession for the 5'6" graduate student from Hempstead, New York.
Give her credit. She would not be denied.
Down low Valley, handoff Ralph, kick out Bird, and a foul in the lane on the Colonials.
See, the old Shea Ralph may have taken that shot. You know how she loves to go in there in traffic and get fouled, and she's so good at it because she's so strong, but that time wisely passed it. And you know, when Tom Danaher moves his arm, I don't know if you can tell, Shea Ralph is wearing a mouth guard and has been since the Ukraine exhibition game. She got an elbow to the mouth, and one of her front teeth, I think, was a little loose, so she's got to wear that mouth guard now, which is a pain in the neck, let me tell you.
Sorry, the foul was on Lawrence. And that's her third, so she takes a seat with 5 minutes to go in the half. Reversal to Vishnyakova, and Alexander would like to have that one back. Obrosimova returning for UConn. Now Lawrence leaves with the 3 fouls, and Dubasova comes back in, and it's more than just a coincidence, Megan, but so often UConn does such an amazing job at shutting down the opposition's best player. Last Friday night, clearly it was Megan Franza for the University of Washington, who had a nightmarish evening against the Huskies. And so far tonight, Dubasova, 2 shots, no points in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, and Rashida Clark for Pepperdine didn't score in the first half. Remember
Alicia Ratai here last year?
Oh, yeah.
There's Reed drilling one from 3-point range. 5th 3-pointer of the season for the senior from Alexandria, Virginia.
She only took 3 all last season.
Obrosimova 3 for 3 from 3. She finally missed one.
But she was so wide open. My question is, how do you leave her that open?
GW on a 7-0 run here in the last 2 minutes, and the rejection inside by Swintela Cash. Then a held ball, possession arrow pointing toward the Huskies.
And she had to add the gorilla scream. I don't even know if gorillas do scream, but check that out.
Well, I think she learned that from Schumacher, didn't she? Schumacher is my position. I maintain she's incapable of blocking a shot without letting out a scream either before, during, or after the block. Sometimes all 3. 3rd block of the season for Cash. Of course, Schumacher had the remarkable 9 blocks in the NCAA championship game against Tennessee. Ralph has it knocked loose. Wild scramble. Davidson comes up with it. 2-on-2 on the right. Dubasova then passes back through the lane. Eventually winds up in Davidson's hands. Ball fake by Vishnayakova. And the rebound inside. Cash tied up by Oha. Possession arrow pointing toward GW, and that will bring us to another timeout. Oha showing me something with her aggressiveness. 3:39 to go in the first half, and UConn with a 20-point lead over Joe McEwen's team. In 41-21 at the beginning of the night, we told you to keep your eye on Petra Dubasova, the 6'3" senior from Slovakia, entering the ball game, leading George Washington in scoring, tied for the team lead in 3-point field goals, second leading rebounder. Not getting it done tonight.
That tells you what we know, or it shows you what UConn has done. Their goal coming into every game is to keep the opponent's best player under her average, and they're doing that and then some here tonight.
Vishnayakova misses. You don't suppose UConn was like watching our open in the huddle and said, "Hey, hear what they said?
I'm sure they did.
Better focus on
they said,
45."
If Bob and Meg said, "Watch this girl, man, we better watch her."
The level of scouting the teams do is so sophisticated and down to, I mean, they know everything.
Yeah,
they know which fork the players eat breakfast with. On the right, Taurasi with her second three of the evening. That ends a 4-minute drought for the Huskies. Taurasi already with 10 points. She's 3 for 3 from the floor, 2 of them from behind the arc. Down low to Oha, who was defended in the front and the back and was knocked out of bounds by Tamika Williams. 15 to shoot for the Colonials. Davidson, defended by Taurasi, having trouble, and finds Reed in the right. Dribbles by Ralph, the runner, with the left hand.
Hey, tough shot that time by Reed. That's what UConn likes to do, force players baseline where the weak side help and come over and step up. Taurasi was there. Just a tough shot by Reed.
Williams up high, gives to Taurasi. Diana Taurasi, 4 for 4 tonight, 3 of them from behind the arc.
Hello.
And she's already got 13 points.
I think she's going to redefine the three-point shot here at UConn. She'll shoot from half court.
Scored over 3,000 points at Don Lugo High School, one of only 5 female players in the country to do that at the high school level. Dubasova for 3, still looking to get on track. We approach the 2-minute mark. A Brosimova pull-up. Back rims it. Oha up for the rebound, and she might get called for the push-off.
Yeah, she and Swin Cash battling around in there. Oha got caught a little too much armed.
George Washington foul number 45, Petra Dubasova.
We're going to get Petrosova from the other side.
There you go.
So to the free throw line will go Cash. Kenitra Johnson replacing Taurasi, who gets the nice ovation. Taurasi was the Naismith National High School Player of the Year last year. And Gino Auriemma obviously has had such great players in his 16 years at UConn, but he said Taurasi a little bit unique. You know, he's not going to say, well, she's the best player we've ever had coming out of high school, but he feels that she's more skilled in the deep shooting game and in the passing game at this level than any player he's ever had. And that's a mouthful.
It sure is.
Cash with the pickoff. Brosimova 2-on-1 with Kenitra Johnson.
Terrific decision that time by Svet not to give it up.
A dozen points for Brosimova. Vishnayakova from the right side of the lane. Rebound inside. Cash and Oha tied up, held ball. This time will go to UConn. Oha is extremely aggressive.
As is Swin Cash.
Yep.
We got quite a battle with those two inside.
Oha won the Atlantic 10's first Rookie of the Week award this year. And UConn now with 50 points on the board with 1:49 has scored at least 45 points in every half this season. Johnson for 3. Rebound Alexander, 2-on-2 if she hurries. Minute 30 remaining. Pass was thrown a little bit behind Dubasova, who cannot hang on. Turnover number 17 for Joe McEwen's team. Ouch.
Well, you have to know, playing against the #1 team in the country, you're going to turn it over, especially with their pressure defense. But it's the unforced turnovers that drive coaches crazy.
Baseline, Tamika Williams.
Offensive foul, he called.
Yep. That will be number 1 on Tamika. And the ball will go back to George Washington.
Tamika Williams. Her first personal foul, 10th on
Abrosimova and Williams are 1-2 in the Big East in field goal shooting percentage entering this ball game. Ralph not eligible because she hasn't taken enough shots.
Never thought you'd say that, huh?
With only 13 shots in the first 3 games. And speaking of Ralph, she'll be called for the foul. That will send the Colonials back to the line.
Well, once again, it's that same play that the Huskies keep getting called for. Got to make an adjustment.
So Reed at the free throw line for the first time tonight. She's got 5 points. Joe McEwen told me we're still trying to figure out the right combination. I don't know how our kids will respond when UConn makes a run. And I told our kids, if you're going to throw it away, make sure you throw it into row 4. Don't give them any easy scoring chances.
Yeah, that's where the Huskies kill you in long rebounds and when they steal the ball and get it out quickly in transition.
Ralph dribbles across the lane, loses her footing, and the ball hits the bottom of the rim. So with 58 seconds remaining in the first half, it will be George Washington ball, with UConn enjoying a 27-point lead. This is the second of 5 games this season for UConn here at the Civic Center. They beat Georgia in the opener. Alexander gets the high screen from Vishnayakova. On the left, Dubasova through the legs of Oha. Here comes UConn, 3-on-2. Johnson to Abrosimova. 14 points for the 6'2 senior from St. Petersburg, Russia, who is already the 5th leading scorer in UConn history. Now with an even 1,600. Well, an odd, actually. 1,669 points in her career. Shot clock is off. There you see the time remaining in the half. The screen from Vishnayakova. Alexander up top to Vishnayakova. Now Reed on the right, head fake, pull up, no good, and that'll do it. So UConn ends the first half with an 8-0 run. Or wait a minute. Hold the phone. Looks like we might get a foul here at the buzzer. We will. So Reed will go to the line with no time remaining. Well, it's not quite like the John Chaney stare. Well, it's a little like it. A little like it. So to the free throw line will go Reed, who's done a great job off the bench this season. The foul on Asia Jones for UConn. And Reed does hit the free throws, and so much for the UConn run to end the half. But they will gladly settle for a 27-point lead at intermission. 52-25. The Huskies leading George Washington in the 4th meeting between these two schools. UConn has won each of the first 3. First time they've met here at the Civic Center. They played once at Gamble and once at the old UConn Fieldhouse. Let's go over to Megan Pattison, who's standing by with Gino Auriemma. Megan?
Coach, great day. You held him to 25 points in the first half. An awful lot of fouls called. Does that concern you?
You know, sometimes it's just the way we play. You know, that's the emphasis this year. It's the hand check rule, and you know, you got to keep your hands off people when they drive by, and we got to do a better job of that in the second half. Our offense is good. Our defense is good. We just got to stop fouling.
Well, Taurasi, 3 from 3 from long range. I think she took a couple from Trumbull Street.
Yeah, well, you know, she can make them from a little bit further than that. I don't know. She's just one of those players. When she gets in the zone, she's awfully good, and right now she happens to be in one of those.
What do you want to work on the second half?
Well, I just want to make sure that our defense stays solid, that continue to rebound well, and basically just keep attacking. That's when we're at our best.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
Meg.
Bob?
All right, Megan, thank you very much. It's 52-25 UConn at the half. 14 for Abrosimova, 13 for Diana Taurasi.
Absolutely.
So glad you could join us. UConn taking control early in this one and well on their way toward win number 4. Let's take Megan a quick look at the highlights in the first half. And Svetlana Abrosimova made her presence felt early.
Well, it all starts with defense here. Swin Cash gets way up for that one, and then Abrosimova, the decision to take it to the hole all by herself. And then once again, defense. Kenitra Johnson comes up with the loose ball. On the break, off to the races, the nice dish to Sveta again, who's a happy recipient.
And Abrosimova, who entered the ball game leading the Big East in field goal shooting, did nothing to hurt it tonight. 5 of 8 thus far as we look at the first half stats. Points in the paint, 20-14 UConn. The 3-point field goal, a big difference, Megan.
Well, absolutely. UConn shooting 58% from three-point range, while George Washington is just 1 of 4.
And 18 turnovers for the Colonials have hurt big time. It's 52-25 UConn at halftime. In a moment, the start of the second half from the Hartford Civic Center. You're watching UConn basketball on CPTV. Leadership funding for UConn women's basketball on CPTV is made possible by our team captain, Phoenix, proud sponsor of UConn Athletics and CPTV, Phoenix, specializing in wealth management, and by our team partners, First Union, your guide to the financial world, United Technologies Corporation, Connecticut's largest private employer. UTC has operations or products in all but 3 countries in the world. Big Y world-class markets with more than 7,000 employees proudly serving their friends and neighbors. SNET, a member of the SBC Global Network. Yankee Energy System, a diversified company that includes Yankee Gas and RM Services. More information is available on the web at yankeeenergy.com. And by the New Haven Register, Southern Connecticut's largest daily newspaper, providing complete local and national sports coverage. A capacity crowd of 16,294 at the Hartford Civic Center, where UConn is 17-4 lifetime in this building. Gino Auriemma's club leading George Washington by 27 points at the half, and it's tough to pick out anything that the Huskies did terribly wrong in the first half, Megan.
Well, look what they did awfully right there. Spreading the scoring around. Abrosimova 14, Taurasi 13, Jones with 7. And then a bunch of others, 5, 6, 4. I mean, they spread it around.
And they did it literally. Abrosimova, Cash, and Bird each with 4 assists in the first half.
I mean, that's saying something. It's nice when you have 19 assists in the first half to 9 turnovers.
And how about that? There was one basket tonight that there was no assist on. They'll have to work on that in practice.
Oh, gosh. What is wrong with that?
I've never seen that. Have you ever seen a half of basketball where 95% of a team's field goals were assisted?
No, usually, you know, if you have half or a little bit more than half of your shots assisted, you think that's a pretty good number.
And UConn has excelled in that area in recent years, particularly last season, but I don't ever remember 19 out of 20.
Me either.
Vishnyakova up high for GW, and the pass is stolen by Abrosimova. Bird behind the back. I think she did it on purpose. I'm not sure. And Ralph will get to the free throw line.
No, she's laughing right now. That was not done purposely.
Huh? Well, she could act like that. So Ralph will go to the free throw line. The foul is called on Vishnyakova. That's her third.
Again, weak side help, initiating that steal. And again, the unselfish play. It's hard to see Sue Bird actually go behind her back, but I don't think you ever go into that with the intention you're going to pass it when you're on the break like that, but you never know.
That was only Ralph's second free throw attempt of the night and only her 14th of the season. And of course, that's a direct byproduct. We mentioned her field goal attempts are way down. It seemed, Megan, that she spent all of last season at that free throw line.
Because she typically and traditionally has been so good about getting into the lane and getting fouled. But this year, you know, she's adjusted. It calls for something different. And I think she's handled it remarkably well.
Shot clock at 10. Alexander in the lane to Davidson. The rebound batted around to Abrosimova. Here's a 3-on-2 for UConn. On the right, Cash. Head fakes. Jones with the putback, no good. Cash with some serious ups. Finally gets it taken away by Alexander.
Because she brought it down. That's where the guards hang out. Good pick that time by Alexander.
Davidson for 3.
Thank you.
Her 6th three-pointer of the season. First of the evening. And a reach-in foul will be called on GW. First of the second half, make it second of the second half. Foul will be called on Davidson, her first.
She raked Shea Ralph in the face that time and went over and said, hey, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to claw you.
Ralph to Bird. Bird. Now, all right. Before I say, I think she did she try to pass that ball between Vishnyakova's legs?
That was like the magic pass. and gosh, Sue, shoot the ball.
I think she did.
She did try to pass the ball, but shoot the thing.
So instead, off the inbound, Bird buries a 3, her first 3 of the night. She's got 5 points, and the lead is up to 29. Davidson reverses to Alexander. Nice look inside to Dubasova, who follows up her own miss.
UConn mixing it up a little bit defensively. That time, GW did a nice job of reversing the ball and getting the shot they wanted. Nice flash by Cash to the high post.
And Cash buries the jumper from there.
It was the only spot that was open.
Alexander dribbles through traffic, puts up the runner, and a foul will be called. I think it might be on Ralph trying to establish position inside. They've used the backside a little too prominently.
Well, she'll be the first to tell you she's got a lot of backside to use.
Well, I'm not going there. But Shea will be whistled for the personal foul nonetheless. That is her second. And Vishnyaikova getting the layup off the inbound. So good execution in the half-court set that time by the Colonials.
Yeah, nice step through there by Vishnyaikova.
On the right, Cash tries to go through 2 defenders, then back out to Bird for the pull-up. Bird's got 7 and comes up hobbling just a bit.
I don't know if it was her ankle or her knee.
Well, you certainly would hope it wasn't the knee. Remember, as a freshman, she played only 8 games and missed the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Abrosimova will be called for a very unpopular foul.
Oh.
Usually it's Chris Daly trying to calm down Gina Auriemma. It's role reversal this time.
Well, let's check this one out. She comes over to help. That was all ball.
Well, maybe it's because she got the ball with 2 hands. Is that a point of emphasis? If you get the ball with 2 hands? I thought it was if you get the defender with 2 hands.
Well, and the hard part, you know, Sally Bell made that call from the baseline down there where the C is in Connecticut along the baseline, and there's no way you can see that. And, you know, that's why you have 3 officials for the opposite guy who can look down into the lane.
So Bird will sit down, and she appears to be okay. Finds a seat between Chris Daly and her former teammate Stacey Hansmeyer, who is in her first year as a member of the UConn coaching staff.
And loving it, she said, and just trying to soak everything up. She said she's learning so much.
Taurasi on the left, fires again. She finally missed her first miss of the night, but Asia Jones there to clean up. And Lawrence comes right back.
GW has done a good job. Every time the Huskies score, they inbound it very quickly and get up the floor.
Taurasi inside finds Jones, who kisses it off the window.
It's so difficult to guard this Husky team because there's so many players who come off the bench who can score.
Alexander dribbles by Ralph and hits the circus shot.
She's saying I was fouled too.
And Abrosimova with the circus pass to Cash.
That was another obscene play. What a pass.
5th assist of the night for Abrosimova, who's 5th in the Big East in that department. Leads UConn in assists on the year. She leads UConn in just about everything. Alexander on the right. And we're going to get a foul set on the screener. And we'll go down the other end. Sally Bell looked across the way. The whistle's blown simultaneously by Sally and Tom Donaher, and they both had the right person. It's Erica Lawrence, and it will be foul number 4. Timeout, 15:55 to go. Abrosimova and the Huskies in complete command. Hey, Megan, what are you doing after the game tonight?
Well, I'm going to go home because right after the game tonight, there's my man, Sting. His brand new day concert coming up tonight after the game. So you don't even have to go anywhere. Quickly run to the kitchen, run to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. Come back in, watch Sting.
Thought I was your man.
Oh, that you are.
Taurasi to inbound following the timeout to Bird. Certainly when we saw Bird go down and come up hopping, doesn't appear to be any sort of physical problem. Taurasi pass off the dribble, and Alexander sniffed it out.
Unfortunately, that's the kind of pass that works in high school. Doesn't work in college.
Alexander left side now finds Reed. Reed shoots over Abrosimova. Didn't work out too well. And as Abrosimova comes up the floor, she goes down hard. Rebound, Taurasi.
Taurasi came out of nowhere to follow that play. Terrific offensive rebound, and Abrosimova was hobbled a bit. Looked like she got tripped.
Left side 3 by Reed. Long rebound run down by Taurasi. Taurasi already has 15 points, which represents a career high here in the 4th game of her career.
Well, we talked
14
about
against George Washington, so she exceeds her 5-day-old career high.
We talked about the 19 assists on 20 field goals. Now the Huskies getting a little too unselfish and making some poor passes when just shoot the ball. Sue Bird did it a few possessions ago. Swin Cash just did it that last possession.
Taurasi, the cutter, and that might have been a pretty good example of what you were talking about, but it works out all right. Cash with the basket and the foul.
That's one of those plays where, yeah, you shouldn't have done it, but boy, are you lucky you completed that pass. She may have thought she was too far under. Oh, no.
Assist number 3 for Taurasi.
Good strong move that time by Cash, getting fouled and still getting the bucket.
Kenitra Johnson replaces Bird, and Ralph replaces Abrosimova. Taurasi entered the ball game with a total of 6 assists on the year in some 54 minutes, and she's picked up 3 tonight.
And she would have had a lot more the Pepperdine game. She had a ton of great passes that the shots just were not completed.
Off the missed free throw, Williams with the rebound and draws the foul on Leslie Carlson, playing in her backyard. 6'4" senior out of nearby Newington High School. Opportunity to play before some family and friends. Carlson holding the Newington High School single season and career record. There's Leslie for block shots. 2-time Connecticut High School Coaches Association All-Star. Played for the Connecticut Starters AAU team. She's got to be exciting playing, growing up in this area, and then comes back, gets to play before 16,000 people against the defending national champ, don't you think?
It's a dream, yeah. Your senior year, she's a leader for this club on and off the floor. So this is a great night for her.
Up the floor, the pass goes to Reed. Now back to Reed, head fake, shuffles it inside, and the ball is juggled and stolen. Johnson goes right by Alexander, who may have got a hand on it, and went off Kenitra's foot and out of bounds. Alexander goes by Tamika Williams with 14 minutes left. Down low Carlson, and the pass deflected by Taurasi into the back court. By the time Alexander brings it back across midcourt, the shot clock is at 10.
And Taurasi just said 1, and then she looked back and everyone was in man. She said, okay, 5.
Alexander feeds inside to Dubasova.
Nice dish again, that time by Alexander.
Third and fourth points of the night for the former member of the Slovakian junior national team, which won a bronze medal at the junior national championships in 1997. And Bird returns replacing Taurasi.
You know, we talk a lot about knee injuries. Dubasova tore her ACL in her left knee back in the 97-98 season. Did it in January, just had to miss the remainder of the season. It was like Sue Bird, it was too far into the season to be able to redshirt.
Up high, Ralph on the weave, gives to Bird. Bird had played 8 games before tearing her ACL as a freshman.
How about that play? Whoa.
Looking for Williams, but Tamika touched it last to go out of bounds. And certainly wasn't Sue's fault that she went down with the knee injury, but that injury, Megan, largely was responsible for absolutely torpedoing that season. The Huskies never recovered. They didn't recover right after it happened, and when you saw them go down in the NCAA tournament, turning the ball over left and right, it was the play at the point which was so costly that season.
Well, they had players who were in positions that just they weren't accustomed to, and it's difficult to do that midstream.
And then you contrast that to last year, where Bird's play was so good that she was named the winner of the Nancy Lieberman Klein Award as the outstanding point guard in the country. You talked to coaches around the country last year, and everybody said the big difference in UConn last year was Sue Bird. And
it's amazing because, you know, as you said, only 8 games. It wasn't like she was coming in as a sophomore, having a year under her belt. You know, while she had a year of maturity, you know, she had very little game experience.
With the shot clock running out, Carlson forces the shot, and it goes out of bounds. Over to UConn, 12:50 left, 33-point Huskies lead.
It's not the kind of shot you want to take when you're playing at home your senior year.
Ralph looks for the cutter, can't find one. Williams hands to Bird, who spins in the lane and shoots over Lindsay Davidson.
Finally, Sue being a little bit more aggressive offensively. I know Gino Auriemma's got to be really excited to see that.
Bird with 7 points here in the second half after only 2 in the first half. Along with the 4 assists for the junior from Syosset, New York, or as they say in Iowa City, Syosset. Remember opening day last year when they introduced the lineups. The public address announcer not quite familiar with the proper pronunciation of Sue's hometown. Ralph rebounding the missed shot by Carlson. On the right, Johnson. Battle feeds inside to Tamika Williams.
And what's so deadly about their offense is it gets them right into their full court press.
10 points for Williams on 4 of 4 shooting. Her field goal shooting percentage is so good that it never seems to go up. Every time she misses it, it goes down. Off the steal, Johnson tries to feed Bird. Davidson got a hand on it, and Battle will go to the line to foul on Reed.
Another heads-up play by Sue Bird. She never ceases to amaze me with the plays. KJ lost the ball a little bit. It got hit, but Bird wisely just taps it to Battle, who gets fouled and will get to the free throw line for 2 easy ones.
Second foul on Corinne Reed, and at the free throw line will go Ashley Battle, who was the player of the year in West Virginia last year, broke her high school, the Lindsley School's scoring record. Played on the U.S. junior national team this summer, a team which won the world championship. Battle on a team that is just loaded with talent, really has made her presence felt defensively when she's been on the floor.
She's a terror.
Timeout, 11:35 to go in the ball game. Sue Bird has come alive in the first 8.5 minutes of the second half. UConn up by 38. Join us here on Connecticut Public Television for our third of 22 UConn game telecasts this season. Huskies leading at 78-40, and we will be right back at you next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock from Miami when the Huskies visit the Miami Hurricanes in their Big East opener. Then a week from tomorrow night, the Gamble Pavilion opener against Holy Cross. A week from Sunday at 24th ranked Illinois. And then following final exams, a matinee. That's a 2 o'clock game on the 22nd against Wake Forest. Following the official timeout, George Washington ball. Leslie Carlson, the senior from Newington, hands off to Alexander, who gets the high pick from Carlson, who rolls, but Alexander can't find her. Now Carlson's open inside, and she'll get to the line. So opportunity for the local product to get on the scoreboard.
Well, the problem there, the screen on the ball, Tamika Williams left Carlson to double the ball, but they didn't do a good enough double team on that ball. So then Tamika could never get back to Carlson, and when she did get back, it was too late. Thus the foul.
UConn well on its way toward winning a game in November for the 29th straight time. Carlson misses the first free throw. That was only her 5th free throw attempt of the season. So UConn with the ball and the big lead as we approach the 11-minute mark. Morgan Valley looking for Johnson through her hands. Alexander right side to Dubasova, down low to Carlson, who's whacked.
Yeah, I thought Williams bumped her that time. The crowd doesn't like it, but I thought Tamika came over and gave her a pretty good bump.
Carlson started a couple of games, 5 to be exact, in her first 2 years at George Washington. Now comes off the bench. Inbound pass knocked out of bounds by Battle. We mentioned going to break that Battle really has a knack for the defensive side. Gets her hands on a lot of passes.
She's just so full of energy. She can jump out of the gym, and she just plays really hard.
Cash replaces Tamika Williams, who leaves with 10 points and 2 rebounds on 4 of 4 shooting. Off the inbound, Alexander, defended by Battle.
You know, this GW team is young, Bob, but you know, they had like the 11th best recruiting class in the country last year, according to some reports. So they're real happy with the crew they got in.
Johnson with the reach in for the steal, then gets it back, misses the shot, and Carlson with the rebound for the Colonials with 10:30 remaining. Alexander inside to Dubasova, who misses the shot.
It was a great look by Alexander to find Dubasova down there.
Bird for 3. And Cash goes way up in the air for the rebound and then feeds it down even lower to Valley.
Look at Swin. She's everywhere.
Nearly got another offensive rebound.
Yeah, almost took it away from Valley.
Cash with 5 rebounds to go with her 9 points tonight as we pass the midway point of the second half. Pull up foul line jumper, Dubasova getting the roll.
Well, didn't we talk about her off the top, and now she's making us look like we know what we're talking about.
6 points. It took her a while to get going. Cash with the long jumper, at least long by her standards.
Watch out, man. If Swing Cash starts knocking down 15, 16, 17-foot jumpers, could be scary.
She's got 11 points. On the season, Cash, a 52% shooter from the floor. That time got her hands on that pass. Davidson for 3. That's her second 3 here in the second half. Coming off a 15-point effort against Rutgers, and Cash runs the floor and lays it in for points number 12 and 13.
Well, that's the worst. Whenever, especially if you hit a 3-pointer, and then you don't even get back and stop a layup.
5 Huskies in double figures tonight. Alexander finds Carlson up high. And the rebound pulled down by Battle. On the left, it's Valley. Good look inside to Cash, who spins, blocked by Oha, who will be, nope, held ball.
Well, Swin, she went the wrong way. If she would have gone over her left shoulder into the middle of the lane, she would have had a wide open layup. The defender was on her right side. See, Oha's on her right side. She went back into her. You got to feel the defense, feel where they are, and spin off them.
Possession arrow pointing toward UConn. 22 seconds left on the shot clock following the held ball. Taurasi inbounds, and it goes off of Valley's leg and out of bounds. Abrosimova back in for the Huskies. She's got 14 points and 5 assists this evening. Alexander to Vishnyakova. Backdoor cut to Reed, and it's sent back by Swin Cash.
So Swin doing it on both ends of the floor.
8:21 to go in the ball game. On the right, Davidson with the pull-up. Rebound batted by Taurasi. Last touch by Diana. 9 seconds left on the shot clock for GW. His possessions lasting almost as long as that election down in Florida. Davidson to throw. At the foul line, Vishnyakova showing the nice touch. The junior from St. Petersburg, Russia, started 32 games in 2 years at Georgia before transferring here. Valley with the missed 3, and the rebound pulled down by Davidson. Quickly up the floor to Reed. Kicks it out to Vishnyakova, who will be called for steps. Timeout. 7:51 to go in the ball game. UConn ranked number 1, 3-0. The Huskies well on their way to a 16th straight Civic Center win. Is who says you can't get a return in cash? Leadership funding for UConn women's basketball on CPTV is made possible by our team captain, Phoenix, proud sponsor of UConn athletics and CPTV. Phoenix, specializing in wealth management. And by our team partners, First Union, your guide to the financial world. United Technologies Corporation, Connecticut's largest private employer. UTC has operations or products in all but 3 countries in the world. Big Y world-class markets with more than 7,000 employees proudly serving their friends and neighbors. SNET, a member of the SBC Global Network. Yankee Energy System, a diversified company that includes Yankee Gas and RM Services. More information is available on the web at yankeeenergy.com. And by the New Haven Register, Southern Connecticut's largest daily newspaper, providing complete local and national sports coverage. Bob Picozzi and Megan Pattison back at the Hartford Civic Center, and we're very proud to have a very special guest. We took a shot of him early in the first half. His name is Dominic Perno. He's the Director of Athletic Development at George Washington and one of the great players and later coach in UConn men's basketball history. Dom, welcome to Connecticut Public Television and welcome back to the state. Great to see you.
It's great to be here, Bob. It really is. To see so many friends that I haven't seen in a while. It's been fantastic. I don't like the score right now, but I'll tell you what, this UConn team is phenomenal. I've seen them a couple of times, and you know, to see them live and in person,
right.
They're for real. I think if they lose this year, it's an upset. I told Gino. That's it. Wow, they're good.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Any little twinge in you when you watch the school you're working for, the one that signs your paycheck, playing against your alma mater?
Oh, definitely. You know, we came in this morning to shoot around, and I had said to them, I said, I want you to let you know that I sat on that side there quite a few times. I've had a few good games, a few times I got pounded, but it did bring back a lot of very, very fine memories.
Well, I see your daughter Holly across the way. Is some of your family still here in Connecticut?
Yeah, Holly's still here, and my son Dom is living in Wallingford, and my son Matt is in Denver right now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I got to spread around.
Little homecoming though for you.
Yeah, this is great tonight. Really, they wanted to come to the game. Of course, they follow the Huskies all the time, and my father-in-law is probably the biggest Husky fan of all. He listens to all the games every evening they're on.
Have they become GW fans though in the process?
They are also. Yeah, one day we can catch them now and again, but they're Husky through and through.
Foul on Vishnyakova, sending Cash to the line, and she makes the first of 2 free throws. Of course, you're down there with another longtime Connecticut product. Your boss, the athletic director, Jack DeVance, of course, out of Bridgeport. Great player for Bob Cousy at Boston College.
Oh, he's been fantastic. We've got a Connecticut contingency down there. Tommy Penders is our head men's basketball
I remember that
coach.
guy.
Right.
Yeah, Tommy is the guy. So he's doing well. We had a tough game the other night. It's been a tough week for the GW, but really it's been phenomenal. The experience is great. We love the area, and as you well know, Bob, it's people.
Right.
And Bob Chernak is our boss, and he's from University of Hartford, and he's just been phenomenal. They've made a commitment to basketball, and we feel really well about what we're doing. Tonight we run into a buzzsaw, of course. Connecticut's just a great team.
We see Reed hit at one end for GW, and Morgan Valley returning the favor for UConn, up 35 with 7 minutes to go. Brosimova can really play, huh, Don?
Oh, they can really play. And I'll tell you what I'm amazed at is the physical part of the game. I mean, they just push you around and beat you up and push you all over, and they're just outstanding in every dimension of the game.
Well, there, Ashley Battle just ran into the basket support, and I think she knocked that thing over.
I wouldn't doubt. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to guard anyone down low because they really move you around. Of course, they're great outside. They don't have any weaknesses. I mean, what I'm amazed at is how hard they fight defensively. I mean, they really make it difficult for you to play the game. And like I said, we're not bad.
Well, you know what? If you being a former coach, how would you attack these guys?
They're tough.
Close your eyes and pray?
Well, I like to get the ball. You know, reversals are good, but I'll tell you what, they attack the ball so well in their double teams that it's not easy. I mean, you think they're open and they're not. And the extra effort that Gino and Chris have been making is just phenomenal. And that's probably the difference. There may be a team in the country, or Tennessee or whatever, that have as much talent. Maybe. I don't think they do, but I just think how hard he's gotten them to play and the competitiveness on their squad. And some was saying if the first team sat down, the second team might win the national title. So, I mean, they really play well.
Have you had a chance to talk to Gino at all since you've been
Just
here? Briefly
when I went over at halftime, no, but he's done a remarkable job. I mean, he and Jimmy Calhoun, Lou Perkins, and Jeff Hathaway have been phenomenal for the program.
It's a long time since the field house, huh?
It sure is. I tell you, with the leaks in the roof.
Right.
Oh, I remember those days.
We had some good times there, though. We really did.
It's great home court advantage, I used to say, right?
Sure is.
Well, Don, actually, it was your last year at UConn that was Gino's first year, right?
That's right.
I mean,
We spent the year together.
You couldn't possibly have envisioned what this would turn into, not only with the success, but here we are in a 16,000-seat arena that is filled and will be the 3 other times they play here this year.
Exactly. And I told our players, we had a shoot around at noon time. I said, this atmosphere you're going to be in this evening is an unbelievable experience to be involved in. You know, obviously you'd like it to be a little more competitive, but just to be here to see what it's like in a special situation is good for everyone. You know, and I really believe it is, because this tells you what it's all about. I mean, there's not many places in the country you can go to and have 17,000 people watching this, especially in the women's program today. I mean, you know that, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and you know, Joe McEwen's done a great job at GW. You know, you can't be fooled by the margin here, 32 points. I mean, UConn has beaten everybody by that margin so far this year, and has, you know, beaten a few over the years that way. But he's taken his team to the NCAA tournament 8 times in the last 10 years, 14-2 in the Atlantic 10 last year, and picked to finish second in the league in the preseason poll this year. They figure to be right there when the Atlantic 10 race begins.
They will, but Joe has done a phenomenal job at the school, and it's interesting because he and Gino are Philadelphia guys, so they're battling out for the home turf. Gino has the edge tonight, but Joe is
Philly
a great
pride,
player.
right?
Yeah, they really, it is. They're really competitive, and but Joe has done a super job, and like I say, he knew how tough it would be coming in, and it's just one you take back, you know, you forget about it and just go on the next day. But like I say, they are a super club. They're beyond my expectations also coming in.
Really?
Really.
Well, were your kids genuinely excited to come in and play this kind of game?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, the #1 team in the country, national champs. It's just great. And I think, you know, also we're 2-2 right now, but I think going into the league, this will be really a good situation for us. You know, I think we'll get stronger. I think the atmosphere presents itself what you really want to be in this game if you can. And it'll also educate some of the GW fans, so they can see this broadcast and say, hey, look, this is what's out there.
This is what we want to get to.
Exactly. And it's tough to do that because I think Connecticut is really unique. I mean, the support that's deliberated by everyone is fantastic. You know, it's not only the men's program, the women's program is doing the same thing. And that's not heard of in today's day.
So, Dom, how do you like your family living in Washington? It's a great place, an exciting place to be.
It really is. I think the big difference between Connecticut and Washington, there's so much down there.
Right.
We're 5 minutes from the Kennedy Center, 5 minutes from the White House, 10 minutes from the Capitol.
I mean, there's not a lot in Hartford, in the greater Hartford area.
There is, of course, but
different, we'll say.
It's a little different, you know, the inner city atmosphere, but the kids love it there. We really have adapted to it, and we're delighted to be down there. And we really have enjoyed it, and I enjoy my work immensely. But it's great to come back here, Bob, to tell you the truth. See you guys and see our many friends.
Well, you know, Megan, as you know, D-Rowe, of course, who was the head coach when Don became an assistant at UConn. D-Rowe cannot walk through this building without shaking hands with what?
It'll take him an hour. It'll take him an hour to walk from end line to end line.
Dom, and you learned from the master.
You bet.
You couldn't go 6 feet without either embracing someone. I mean, you were introducing your people to the 2 or 3 people here that don't know you.
Well, I learned from the best. DeRoe, he's my mentor. That's it. It is fun to come back and see so many good friends. You know, Ted Sergi, the superintendent, the Commissioner of Education, is a dear friend. He worked with me at Connecticut when I first started there. So many good friends have really followed the program back when, Bob, and they're still here following the women's program now. It's just remarkable to see, and it's a special setting, and everyone should be extremely proud of.
The runner no good by Marshik Witherspoon, who was checked into the lineup for GW. UConn up 34-4, 24 to go. Valley loses her balance as she drives, and the Colonials head up the floor. They're going to open their Atlantic 10 season, Dom, in a couple of weeks against Duquesne.
Exactly, and then once we get in the league, things will level out and balance, and it's great to play a competitive schedule. We're at Rutgers just the other day. Iowa comes in, NC State. So these are the type of programs that you have to play to move up another level, Bob, and that's what Joe is trying to do. And you know, tonight I said, look, Joe, we'll go back to the hotel room. We'll work it out. But I'll tell you, he is a competitor, though. Joe is really, as Gino is also. And he's got a great way with the kids. I love his players. I know all of them very well, and they're really pleasant to be around, and it's just a good atmosphere.
And a great freshman class.
Yes.
You know, they have great personalities. They're terrific players. They're all good students.
They are. It really is. It's fun for me to be involved with their program, Megan, to be honest with you. I really have enjoyed what they present for the university, and many of them do extremely well when they go on.
We have a timeout with 3:49 to go in the ball game. Don Perno, thanks so much for stopping by to see you. Give our best to your family. Always great to see you.
It's been a pleasure, Bob. Megan, take care of yourself.
Dominic Perno, the Director of Athletic Development at George Washington, former great basketball player and coach at UConn. The Huskies up 34. Leads George Washington, 88-54, 3:49 to go. We delighted to visit with former UConn men's basketball coach Don Perno, now the Assistant Athletic Director of Athletic Development at George Washington. Margin of victory last season and thus far this season. Well, it's tough to improve upon that, but so far through 4 games they have. UConn sitting in a 2-3 zone. Maria Conlon, Marcy Zell in the lineup. Pass to the cutter Lawrence, who lays it up and in. Christine Rigby also out there.
Terrific offense that time by GW. Picking apart the UConn defense.
Zell to Rigby up high. Now Zell finds Battle, and she's stripped from the near side blind side by Witherspoon. Winds up in the hands of Oha as we approach the 3-minute mark.
Good D that time by Witherspoon, but you got to love both players at this point in the game, diving on the floor, trying to get the loose ball.
Witherspoon, baseline Oha, goes down low to Carlson, whose triple team gets it out to Witherspoon. Shot clock is 10. Oha over Rigby.
Well, you got to realize Rigby's about 6'5", and with outstretched arms, she's got to be 7'5" at least.
6 points for Oha, who had a couple of double-doubles to begin her college career against Delaware and Virginia. And there's Rigby hitting the tournament.
The crowd hasn't made this much noise since the beginning of the half.
9th and 10th points of the season for Rigby, who's now 4 of 5 from the floor this year. Oha baseline. Witherspoon for 3. The first 3-point attempt of the season for the 5'5" freshman from Florida. She just doubled her point total for the season with that trifecta as we're inside the 2-minute mark. 90-61 UConn. Taurasi to Rigby.
Taurasi was lucky she didn't get called for a charge that time.
Lawrence spins on Conlon and uses the glass.
Erica Lawrence.
It was a nice spin move that time by Lawrence to free herself of the defense.
Dozen points for the sophomore from Nyack, New York. Averaging 9 per game entering the contest. Battle up top. Taurasi finds Zell.
You know, I find this interesting. You know, UConn has all of its subs in, and there's still a couple starters in there. Lawrence, Davidson, Oha plays a lot of minutes. Well, that's why it's looking so. And here we go. He'll get some subs in now.
Uses a timeout to do it. Alexis Darling, a 6'5" freshman from Corning, New York, will check into the lineup for Joe McEwen, who is a 3-time Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year. I chatting with him yesterday, Megan. And so often this is the case when you're a coach, you're competitive, and you never ever enter a game with the idea, well, we have no chance of winning. Even if you feel that way, you can't communicate that to your kids. But so often a coach will have to decide, how am I going to play against UConn as opposed to how do I want to play against everybody else? What's the best way for us to play in the long run? And when I asked him about tempo, and he said, if they didn't have a shot clock, you might not see us shoot all night.
Which, you know, that's an interesting point. And I found it actually interesting early on in the game. GW was taking some quick shots, you know, long range shots on the break and whatnot. I'm thinking, you don't want to make this a real fast game because you will get absolutely blown out.
Yeah. Well, he said that is the way they want to play. They want to run and press and attack, you know, once they get into the Atlantic 10 season, which obviously is the most important portion of the season for the Colonials.
And the danger you run into is, you know, you've got to instill your style of play with your team, and you work on it since October 15th, and you can't
change it for one night.
you can't for one game come in and do something completely different. It's not fair to your kids.
Unless you think that by doing it, it gives you a significant chance to win. And obviously that did not figure to be in the cards entering the ball game. 30 seconds left.
Plus, it's too early in the season to do anything, to be able to play around with stuff.
So George Washington will go at it again on Sunday, a non-league game against Iowa. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Witherspoon blocked from behind by Conley. It will come to Kenitra Johnson. Shot clock now off. Zell on the left. Baseline. Rigby. Can't get it to drop, and that'll do it. So UConn, for the 16th consecutive time, has come into the Hartford Civic Center and emerges the winner. They beat George Washington 90-63. It's also the 29th straight win in the month of November for UConn. Not all this year, but it's been a long time since the Huskies have lost a game in November. Now 18-4 overall in their history at the Hartford Civic Center, as they put a thumping on George Washington. 90-63 the final. Back for the Civic Center after this timeout.
Diana, second time here in the Civic Center, 16,000 people. You seem like you're a little more comfortable, were you?
Yeah, I'm not nervous anymore. The first few games I was a little nervous, but you know, after you practice all week and you get ready to play, you don't get nervous anymore.
Well, we noticed a couple times you took shots what seemed to be from half court. You care to comment?
My teammates were looking for me, and they were playing a zone where they're really concentrating on our big people. So, you know, our post did a good job of looking for the guards.
And you, Miss Cash, so many times the ball would go up, someone would shoot it, and you would see these two arms flying out of nowhere. Did you eat something different today?
No, I just came out and tried to really focus and get ready to play.
Well, you led the team with 7 rebounds, did an amazing job throughout the game there. A little pump fake. You want to tell us about that play?
We've really been working on that. We knew that their big guys were pretty tall, and we had to pump fake them because we're smaller, but we knew with a lot of quickness and a couple hit fakes we'd be able to get inside.
I like the one reaction you had right after the when you got fouled there. You want to show us what you did there with your little arm action?
It was in Morgan Valley. I did it from
Okay. See, now you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, these two are the most talkative people in the world, and now that they're here, they won't talk. Real quick, the road trip. Yeah. Talk a little bit about how your first road trip, how'd that go?
That went really well. We had 2 games. We played really well, and you know, it's a different experience going on the road, not going to school, which is nice. So it was nice to be with the girls on the road. We had a lot of fun.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. I know you're eager to take a shower, and I'm eager for you to take a shower.
Definitely,
Congratulations. Talk to you soon. Bob?
Thanks.
All right, Megan, thank you very much. Congratulations to Diana and also to Swin Tarasi leading the way with 15. Svetlana Abrosimova, 14 points, 5 assists. Swin Cash, 14.7 rebounds, 4 assists. Asia Jones, 11 points and 6 rebounds. And Tamika Williams, 10 points and 6 rebounds. So next up for UConn, a visit to Miami. Next Tuesday night, you can see it at 7 o'clock right here on Connecticut Public Television. For Megan Pattison, I'm Bob Picozzi. Thank you so much for joining us, and so long from Hartford. The preceding has been a production of Connecticut Public Television.